Welcome back to Sawtooth Tactical. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. These words were written into our Second Amendment, into our Constitution in the late 1700s. And all that they've done since, all that the ATF, always taking fun, has done since, has infringed upon our rights. But we have something new in place in recent years. This would be the Bruen decision, which states that any firearms regulations have to be consistent with the text, history, and tradition of the Second Amendment, of the time that the Second Amendment was written. Well, the NFA is not consistent with anything that was in place at the time that the Second Amendment was written. There was no regulation on your barrel length, on suppressors. There was no regulation on machine guns or any other firearm technology. And believe me, the founding fathers understood that firearm technology would change and get better. It's just like the First Amendment. It still applies to modern technology. The Second Amendment does as well. And while we haven't been able to get rid of the NFA yet, I do think that we do have an opportunity to do that now, and so I want to talk about that today. In the last couple of years, the Bruen decision has helped us make leaps and bounds in getting some of our rights back as far as firearm ownership, the right to keep and bear arms. And even some things that you would think that would not pass muster legally, it does pass constitutionally. Things like felons being able to be in possession of firearms. Well, there was nothing at the time the Second Amendment was written that said that they couldn't. And so there are cases right now that are probably going to win, and felons will be able to have firearms again. And that is just one example. We've been getting a lot of wins under the Bruen decision, and I think that it is time to go after the NFA. Now, I believe that one of the reasons that we haven't been able to take the NFA down yet is because you need standing in order to present a case. And unfortunately, the way our legal system works, in order to get standing, you have to have been injured. Not necessarily physically injured, but you have to have been harmed by the law that you're going up against constitutionally. And I actually read about a case earlier today about a guy who submitted a Form 1 to change his AR-15 into an M16, into a fully automatic machine gun. Well, he was denied in like 7 days, which, for one thing, that shows that there is no real reason for the NFA approval process to take 11 months when they can deny someone in 7 days. It shows that they literally are just, trying to piss us off and make us wait, which that really sucks. But that's also going to be part of my argument here. So a right delayed is a right denied. But anyway, this guy did this, and now he is suing to get rid of the Gun Control Act. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully the Supreme Court will take up some of these cases. They've been denying a lot of firearms cases, and that is another part of the problem. I don't know about you guys, but I've had my bank account hacked 3 times just in the last year. I get spam calls all the time. I've had to get new debit cards because it's been such a problem. And that's why I am partnering with Aura. I'm pretty careful about not putting my information out there, but I Googled my email address and there was still tons of stuff about me. Luckily, a lot of it was Sawtooth Tactical. Data brokers literally have all of your information, your full name, your email, your home address, and those of your family, and they sell them to scammers, spammers, and anyone else who might want to target you. That's why I'm using Aura, the sponsor of today's video. Aura shows me which data brokers are using my information and selling it, and automatically submits opt-out requests on my behalf. Check out how many data brokers Aura found that were selling my information. Cleaning up my information helps reduce the amount of spam phone calls and stuff like that I get. And it also protects me from hackers that could use this information to access my social media, bank accounts, or other sensitive information. And Aura does so much more to protect me and my family from threats that I can't even see. Aura is very easy to set up. I don't have to download several different apps for things like antivirus, VPN, password management, parental controls, identity theft insurance, and more. I can get it all in one place for one affordable price. You might already have one or two of these tools, but not having Aura is like locking the front door, but leaving the back door wide open. Aura is always on, doing the hard work so that I can focus on other things like building this YouTube channel or whatever else that I want to deal with, instead of protecting my own personal privacy. I value my privacy and I value yours. You can go to aura.com/sawtooth-tactical to get your own 2-week free trial. I'll have a link down below in the description. If we can get the right people, the right money behind some of these cases, the right groups, such as Gun Owners of America, Firearms Policy Coalition, I think that we could take these cases to the Supreme Court as long as they will actually hear the cases. But hear me out here. So, in order to be injured, say you apply for a suppressor. Well, like I said earlier, a right delayed is a right denied. And we have court precedents saying that that is true from the Supreme Court. So, if it takes you 11 months to get a suppressor, and you get hearing damage during that 11 months, well, then you have been injured by your right being delayed, being denied. I think that that could give someone standing in order to sue to take down the NFA. So this is my idea. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be that. I'm just saying there are a lot of ways we could go about this. You cannot tax a right. Well, the NFA tax is a tax on a right, no matter how you look at it, at least from my perspective. And so you could be injured financially from paying NFA tax stamps in order to, have the right to have a firearm with the barrel length of your choosing. I think that there are a lot of ways to go about this, but I think that if they make it to the Supreme Court, Bruen is pretty clear, and so is the Second Amendment. And I do think that when it comes down to it, there was no text, history, or tradition of regulating short-barreled rifles, short-barreled shotguns, silencers, machine guns at the time that the Second Amendment was written. The National Firearms Act was in the 1930s. The Second Amendment was in the late 1700s. The Gun Control Act, 1968. These things were not around during the time that the Second Amendment was put into place, meaning that Bruen should be able to take them out. And so I think that we have a massive opportunity here. And I just hope that there's someone out there with the funds. And like I said, there are all these groups that we pay money to every month. They do have the funds to do this. But you also do need a complainant, a person that has been injured by these laws in order to have standing to make a case for this. But just in those couple of examples that I gave, many people, myself included, I've paid money for tax stamps. That's injured me financially. I've had to wait almost a year for a suppressor. Now, I'm not sure I got hearing damage during that year. I wear ear protection. But those are just two examples. I'm sure that people that are lawyers, because I'm not one, could come up with much better examples. But I think that Bruen is pretty clear, and I think the Second Amendment is very clear. And I think that it is time to finally get rid of the NFA, the Hughes Act, the Gun Control Act, and we have the ammunition to be able to do that now. And I don't mean actual ammunition, I mean the Bruen decision. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I'd be really curious to see if you agree with me on this. Another thing too is the common use thing. Short-barreled rifles and suppressors are very common these days. There are tons of companies making suppressors now because it is a very popular product. Lots of people are getting suppressors. Suppressor ownership, I don't have the numbers in front of me right now, but it has grown massively year over year lately. And I'm sure that there's a lot of revenue to the ATF to be able to take away our fun, which kind of sucks. So let's take away that revenue from the ATF. They don't deserve to be taking good law-abiding gun owners' money to be able to use that money to infringe on our rights. But my point is that these things are in common use now. I think Caetano, trying to remember which decision it was, about common use of stun guns. It was a few 100,000. Well, there are millions of suppressors and short-barreled rifles out there now being used for lawful purposes. That is in common use. So there are all of these ways that we can attack the NFA, and I think that it's time to do this. We've talked about it and talked about it and talked about it forever. There's all kinds of cases out there to, get back rights that have been infringed on. Well, this is the big one. This is the one that I think that a lot of gun owners care about. I really do. I want to suppress everything. And I don't know if you guys could tell, I like my barrels short. And having to pay $200 each time you have a barrel shorter than 16 inches, or each time you want a suppressor, and then having to wait months and months and months to get that, it's bullshit. Let me know if you guys agree down in the comments. Subscribe to Sawtooth Tactical. Give me a like if you enjoyed this video. And from Sawtooth Tactical, stay strapped or get clapped.